Hello everybody, welcome back to another important video. Today reacting to the Trump versus DeSantis, the final verdict on who the 2024 GOP nominee will be. This is a video covering Red Eagle Politics' dissertation on the Ron DeSantis question. He really wanted me to review this, so we're going to go ahead and call on the favor here. And, I'm going to give very nuanced analysis. It's going to be really appalling just how precise the takes will be. You guys already know that I'm pro-Trump 2024. I disavow DeSantis, or as I like to call him, DeSatan. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I'm still being honest insofar as I do believe that Donald Trump is the better candidate. But we're going to let Red Eagle dive right in, and I'm going to give my on-the-spot analysis as we go on.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So we have the 2022 midterms approaching very quickly, and after that a lot of people are anticipating if Trump will run for president in 2024 or not. And as a result, there has been a lot of debate over the past year and a half or so on the right wing if Donald Trump should run for president again for a non-contiguous second term, or should he pass the torch to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who has been receiving a lot of positive praise by conservative media lately because he's actually...
Okay, right there you can tell that he was writing the script for the video because he said non-contiguous. I don't think I've ever heard Red Eagle ever say non-contiguous ever in a sentence before. So you can tell that he was writing it and trying to sound smart. That's something that I noticed right away. And again, I'm going to be very nitpicky because he told me he wanted the nuanced analysis here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for him. And in regards to like what the background is for the green screen, I don't know what that is, by the way. It's a completely new background, and we'll go on.
Wielding power to get things done to a certain extent. And I wanted to take this video out to explain who I really believe the 2024 choice should be. Because these primaries are very important. Whoever wins the primary in 2024 is going to be the successor to Joe Biden, more likely than not, assuming that they can win in the general election, which we'll get to talking about that in a little bit. But beyond that point, there is a new phenomenon that is going around. It is called neo-never-Trumpism. I actually coined this term, and Scott Greer has used this term, very highly respected pundit, no pun intended. But it's so true. You have a coalition of people that are never Trump for 2024. A lot of them were never Trump in the 2016 primaries, and a lot of them were never Trump to some extent throughout his entire presidency. However, they may have held their nose and voted for him over Hillary, or voted for him over Joe Biden because they just simply believed that the opposition was worse. And now these same people want to dictate who the Republican nominee should be. Again, a lot of these people enthusiastically voted for John McCain and Mitt Romney in the primaries under the guise of electability, and we all know how that turned out. But there are a lot of arguments for why Ron DeSantis should run from these people. A lot of them are neocons, which again brings a little bit of skepticism. Do we trust Ron DeSantis for president, even if we like him as governor, if all of the people that are propping him up are the people that we despise and the people that despise us and that have despised the MAGA, the America First movement at every single turn since its inception? I think the answer is no. I really don't trust these people at all. But beyond that point, they really bring forward two arguments. One is that Trump failed as an executive. Sometimes they will pivot to the right, even to the right of where they usually are, to take a stab at Trump. Oh, Trump failed on this right-wing issue, or Trump failed here. Let's go with DeSantis. And again, it's very flawed reasoning. I think that there are people out there that do operate in good faith that would prefer DeSantis over Trump, mainly because they just don't understand how these things work. But it is true, Trump had a lot of failures. He is a salesman for the jab. He is somebody that touts it as his accomplishment even to this date. He is somebody that didn't really handle the riots to the best of his capability, and he okayed the initial lockdown of our country back in 2020. All of those things are valid, and we're going to get to them in a little bit.
No, they're not. No, they're not, Jack. This is Red Eagle's problem over here. He's cucking on the issues that are important, right? And again, I appreciate how coherent he sounds. This is a noticeable step up. And I can tell that he's doing pretty well. Now, what I will say about Jack is he's wearing his own merch. I can tell by the shirt he's wearing. But it doesn't make sense to wear it because it just looks like you're wearing a ring around the Blue Yeti microphone you do have. So that's like a weird look. So disavow that. Anyways, beyond that point, I do believe that Jack is on the money in terms of people from the left of Trump bitching about how he's going to be the one that is how do you say it? Incompetent leader. An incompetent leader in what way exactly, guys? Well, he did so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so. Now, the criticisms against Trump are merely mistakes for the most part of hindsight, right? Well, he didn't see this coming. He didn't see that coming. That's why he made a mistake. It wasn't because he knew what was going to happen and picked the wrong thing. Donald Trump's decision making is one of the best guts in the business, frankly. And then, the other point here is, he pushed the jab. So what? What else was he going to do? Disavow the vaccine that he was providing money for? Of course, he had to double down on it, regardless of the effects of it. So him supporting the vaccine and pushing people to get it was completely valid, and he wasn't pushing for mandates either. So there's nothing you could have really done. And again, he shielded for the vaccine. It's like, well, where's Ron DeSantis at? And your biggest criticism from the DeSantis target is going to be like, well, he was moderately more anti-vax than Trump. And it's like, well, I want to see DeSantis provide the money from the government, his own money, theoretically. And I want to see him disavow the own vaccine that he made himself. See, that's bullshit. DeSantis does not get any credit for being better on the vaccine than Trump. And then the other point was that, Trump pushed for the lockdowns. Well, everybody was. Everybody but like Ben Shapiro was saying that the shutdowns were good. Whether you're talking about certain leftists, when you're talking about the far right, everybody was in agreement for the most part that the lockdowns were essential up until like maybe April or May of 2020. So in reality, we're looking at something where Donald Trump took the most popular position, the position that his cabinet gave. Virtually all of them agreed that we should shut down the country for a couple weeks at the beginning, and he did what they told him to do, and that was the normal thing to do. That is the wise thing to do. Obviously, in hindsight, it wasn't worth it. Then again, how would he have known that coming, from today to now? I mean, today to then. So, I don't blame Trump at all for shutting down the country. I probably would have done the same thing, knowing what he knew at the time. So blaming him and giving him any crap for that is disingenuous and bad faith. And Ron DeSantis 100% undoubtedly would have closed the country as well. So I want to see anybody criticize me from that perspective. So we're gonna go ahead and let Red Eagle speak.
But this notion that, Ron DeSantis is going to be like this paleo-conservative populist leader out of nowhere if he magically assumed the White House, there's no evidence of that. And we're going to get into why in this video. But beyond that point, it's just crazy the amount of retconning these people do. And they will act like Trump's presidency had zero positive impacts, which there were many. And they will act like a Trump second term would be awful, despite the fact that a lot of people, the based staffers that Trump had in the White House, they anticipated that a second Trump term would be a lot more positive, a lot more populist, a lot more America first than his initial term, because once he gets reelected, he could go scorched earth, which is true on big tech, on whatever. Now he has a reason to, because he's been wronged. I don't see Ron DeSantis being banned from Twitter, but maybe I'm missing something. But beyond that point, you're looking at this and you're seeing the fact that that's the main thing. They will say DeSantis would be better than Trump as an executive, or it's the other argument. Whereas Trump, he can't win. He lost. He's old. Which honestly, I think that the only argument that's valid against Donald Trump running in 2024 is the fact that he is old. He is not Trump in 2016, but still he is a high-energy Chad. He is an honorary Zoomer, as I like to put it. He is somebody that is mentally intact, unlike our current octogenarian president, and he is out for revenge, and that is all true, guaranteed. But beyond that point, we're going to dive into this. But I just want to say that I don't think that it will ever come to a Trump versus DeSantis primary. There's been a lot of gaslighting in the media, both in neocon media as well as in just the liberal mainstream media, where they're saying that Ron DeSantis is going to be running against Donald Trump. In every single poll, Trump is in the mid-50s, mid-60s or so at a minimum, and we understand the polls are probably underestimating him, and Ron DeSantis is down there in the 20s. He's not polling that much higher than a hypothetical Trump versus Mike Pence primary, and Mike Pence is despised throughout the base, and we know that by now. But this notion that Ron DeSantis is going to challenge Trump, what's he going to do, like hit him from the right? I mean, Ron DeSantis' tenure as governor is not necessarily perfect either. I mean, it's good, just like Trump's presidency was good. Trump is the best president of our lifetimes. Ron DeSantis very may well be one of the better.
By the way, how many Republicans are to the right of Donald Trump enough to vote for somebody that isn't Trump, Oh, I'm going to attack Trump from the right. It's like, well, nigga, how many people are there? Like, figure out. Okay, I said figa, YouTube, I said figa, my bad. Okay, I'm Mexican, anyway, TOS. But, no, but figure something like this out. And that is that Donald Trump is a far-right candidate, relatively speaking. Obviously, I don't think so. I'm more conservative than Donald Trump is, whatever. Point being is that Donald Trump is about as far-right as you can get, within reason, to win a primary by the margins that he can. So Ron DeSantis running to his right is really just really stupid at this point. You're better off just running to the left of Trump and winning then. So yeah, no, I agree with Rep.
Governors of our lifetime that we've seen in this country, at least in my lifetime, maybe not some of the boomers that are watching in the audience, but this notion that, DeSantis is going to challenge Trump, he would lose. DeSantis is already building up his war chest. He has over $100 million saved up, and he is doing that for the 2028 election. And if he ran in 2024 for some reason against Donald Trump in a primary, it would destroy the party, but Donald Trump would likely come out on top, and DeSantis would be down there in the 20s, and DeSantis would be viewed as a traitor to Trump, as a traitor to Trump's base, and he would never be able to be successful in higher office ever again if he decided to run. So do keep that in mind. But beyond that point, it's important to understand that this is mainly a matter of should we want Trump to run or not, because we know that they will likely not go up against each other. Ron DeSantis has said that he will not go up against Donald Trump in 2024, so it is important to keep that in mind. But we want to dive into this by really tearing down the two aforementioned arguments. The first one is why Ron DeSantis is not better than Trump as an executive. And it's basically this simple. Statewide politics and national politics are two different ballgames. You may see somebody, who's a very successful player in college football. They win the Heisman. And then they go to the NFL and they're like garbage. Like Sam Darnold, Ryan Leaf, one of these examples. Like, and you might say, you can't make that comparison. You're comparing sports to politics. And it's like, I absolutely can make that comparison. Because it's the same concept. You're taking somebody who is in a similar game with similar rules, and you're putting them in an entirely different league of competition. Sometimes it doesn't always translate that well. Look at Mitt Romney as governor, or Jeb Bush as governor. When they were governors, they weren't exactly like the worst governors in the world, but on the national scene, they're some of the worst that the Republican Party has had to offer. So take all of this into consideration. These are two entirely different ballgames. Donald Trump is governor of Florida. For all we know, would be far more successful than Ron DeSantis. I mean, he's not governor of Florida, but it's much easier in many ways to wield power at the state level. And you love to see Ron DeSantis doing that. I'm not saying that DeSantis is not a good governor, but there's an entirely different slate of issues and constitutional loops that you have to jump through as an executive of the entire country than you do at the state level, which is also something that is important. And also, people will say, DeSantis, he'll work better with Washington. Is that supposed to be a selling point? Look at Washington. It's a swamp. People will say he knows how to navigate the swamp because he's been there. But if anything, it's just more of an indication that he could very well be part of the swamp. I believe that Ron DeSantis has good intentions. I'm not going to say he's a swamp creature, he's a swamp monster or whatever. But if he goes to D.C., the people that are going to be around him and trying to infiltrate his inner circle are going to be the neocons who have spent their entire lives just caving into the left and turning their back on the voter base and the American people. That's all it will come down to. And these people are the same people, like at the National Review, that are shilling for Ron DeSantis 2024. And that's that because they believe that he is more controllable. And I mean, it's important to also understand the fact that a lot of the bills that Ron DeSantis has passed as governor have not entirely been perfect. That big tech bill was garbage. I'm not going to say it's entirely his fault, but he even has trouble dealing with the state legislature in Florida, which is probably more malleable. And there's a lot of rhinos in that state legislature. What do you think is going to happen when he gets to Washington? I mean, do you think he's going to set him straight? Like when it came down to the big tech bill, he didn't really push back that much verbally on the state legislature. When it came down to the E-Verify bill, he wasn't really pushing back that hard in regards to the fact that it left out a lot of private businesses, although Anthony Sabatini, who actually gets it on the issues, who's running for Congress in Florida, great guy, he was one of the people that was pushing back, but Ron DeSantis really wasn't. So maybe he's not exactly going to be this fighter that's going to save this country. We want to build on Trumpism. Trump is great, he's not perfect, but we want to build on that. If you look at somebody like Ron DeSantis, for all we know, you could kind of be taking a step back, and that is something that we don't want to do because we don't have that much time left to save this country. It's true. And another one of these taglines that they'll come up with, one of their little talking points that they keep repeating on Twitter.com or in Twitter Spaces, just themselves off, is basically this notion that DeSantis would have better people around him than Donald Trump, which in and of itself is laughable. Did Donald Trump have some bad people around him? He absolutely did. He had Jared Kushner's around him. But this notion that these people that were in his White House, like Kushner, like John Bolton, Brooke Rollins, etc., the notion that these people would not be more happy or more inclined to work under a DeSantis administration than a Trump administration is very real, and it should tell you everything possible. These people are swamp creatures that will do anything that they can do to root out any America First conservatism or populism from any possible future Republican administration, and they will absolutely try and get in DeSantis' administration. But the good people that Trump had around him, like the Darren Beatties of this world, the Stephen Millers, would they be present in a DeSantis administration? This is another question, and I'm not entirely sure the answer to that is yes. I really can't say. I don't believe that they really would. And when you take all this into consideration, this whole, Trump was held back by bad advisors thing, it kind of goes out the window. I mean, you might say DeSantis keeps a smaller circle down there in Florida, and that very may well be true, but this notion that you can keep a small circle in D.C. has really been unfounded. I agree that Trump's cabinet picks were a mixed bag. Some of them were very good. A lot of them were also very bad. Under DeSantis, I think you're going to get more bad than good, which is a big problem. And you had a lot of Bush administration officials come forward and say, oh, they wouldn't want to work for Trump. And I saw a tweet. I don't know if I could find it. It might have gotten deleted, but I could pull it up. I'll pull it up right here on the screen if it exists. It might not. But basically, this one guy was saying that, oh, Trump was just so low IQ because all these neocons wouldn't work for him. And it's like, you want neocons to work for Trump while you're also criticizing Trump for having neocons working for him? It doesn't exactly add up. DeSantis' administration would almost certainly be filled with a lot of Bush appointees, a lot of people that would have been in a McCain administration or a Romney administration, and a lot of the bad people in Trump's administration, minus some of the good people. And if DeSantis actually got it together and ran a campaign that had America First messaging, which kind of contradicts some of his past congressional record, you know, the last time where Ron DeSantis was at the national level, a lot of people forget about that, but that actually exists. That was a real time in American history where Ron DeSantis was a congressman, and he really wasn't one of the more base people in Congress. But at the end of the day, it's important to look
That's
at this.
a great point he
to
makes, that Ron DeSantis was irrelevant when he was a congressman, you know, completely boring, milquetoast, blah, blah, blah. Ron DeSantis, boring, hello.
Of Donald Trump will almost certainly apply to Ron DeSantis. Now, Trump at least can learn off of his first term. People will say he hasn't learned, but I mean, Kushner's out of the way. A lot of the bad advisors are out of the way. Not enough of them are out of the way, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are out of the way. And then you'll hear people talk about how, Trump failed during his presidency, DeSantis would be better in regards to COVID and how he handled COVID because Trump decided to support the lockdowns initially. And while I agree DeSantis did an overall very good job in Florida regarding COVID, Florida is free. That's arguably why DeSantis is rising to power, and he's done a very good job cracking down on, corporate jab mandates for workers in the state. DeSantis also locked down Florida for a while. Let's not retcon here. He might counter-signal Fauci, but in 2025, is firing Fauci going to be the number one issue? Like, he should be fired. I'm pretty sure Trump at this point would fire him. Trump might have been waiting until the election to do so because of the fact that, yeah, there would have been a lot of consequences for him, maybe electorally, if he decided to do it. He probably should have done it early on. I agree. It probably wouldn't have had any negative electoral impacts, but the same people that are going to sit back here and criticize Trump for not firing Fauci are the same people that would have criticized him if he did it, and they would have said, no, he's not eluctable. Look what he's doing. And the same thing goes for the riots, too, and nobody talks about it either. But there were a lot of positive things that Trump did during COVID. There were a lot of positive things that Trump did during the riots, such as the executive order in regards to statues. If you tear down a statue, you're going to get good things in 2020 that nobody really talks about.
Over the COVID stuff. I just find the COVID stuff kind of boring.
And I agree. There's not been a single person that's high profile that calls out Donald Trump's bad endorsements, arguably more than myself. This notion that I'm going to give Trump a free pass for everything is absolutely laughable. I really don't know where it comes from.
The guy with the highest amount of Trump callouts on the endorsements. And come on, man. Come on, man. Really? I'm pretty sure Tucker names the endorsements. And Tucker's kind of a bitch about that too, like a little too pedantic. I personally back Trump's endorsements way more than most people, but then again, I don't spend my time on Twitter all the time. So I mean, that's pretty much the disconnect. The people that bitch about the Trump endorsements the most are the people with the least amount of actual important, like how do I say this? The least important people have the strongest opinions on certain political niches, such as Trump's endorsements. Okay, people that spend 3 hours plus on Twitter every day will be talking about how Trump's endorsement was so bad. You think Trump even gives a shit as much as you do? Yeah, so there's a disconnect, okay? Maybe you should care less about the endorsement of the president that's endorsing the person, okay? So I just need to make that point, and then Red Eagle's going to get on his, he's going to start complaining about the endorsement thing. I don't really care. I tell Red Eagle to his face all the time, or when I call him, I'm like, dude, come on, I don't give a shit. And I'm always right, by the way. Jeff Sessions lost, thankfully so. Fuck him. And then the other guy, what's his name? The guy who counter-signaled Trump, sent in mailer saying he was endorsed. Was it Roy Moore? Whatever. Yeah, no, that was a clown show as well.
Been more critical of him than positive of him, especially in this department, because Trump cares a lot about his endorsement record. He only endorses candidates that he believes are capable of winning a primary, and sometimes he endorses bad candidates, or he doesn't endorse at all and leaves good candidates out to die, basically.
Let's go.
The notion that DeSantis is going to be coming out here and endorsing all the grassroots America First warriors is laughable. I mean, the only person he's really endorsed for 2022 was a good endorsement, but it was Adam Laxalt. And why did he endorse Adam Laxalt? Because he hung out with him in the military. That's basically why. Which also shows that DeSantis is somebody that also is easily pleased by his friends. He'll go out to make these business deals for other politicians, which I'm not saying is inherently bad.
DeSantis bro's destroyed, by the way. Like, I don't see where the defense
Trump is somebody who
DeSantis
has been co-opted by it to an extent, but he's still somebody that we know has good intentions, and he can't really be bought out, which is another thing. So beyond that point, it's also important to reiterate the fact that all of the OG never-Trumpers tend to like DeSantis. If you've been on Twitter, you've seen that guy, Chipotle, Rufus, whatever his name is. He had a U.S. Elections Atlas account back in 20.
Has to be the same guy. Arbitrage 1980. Hello, old cell. Gen X check. I was at the Trump election party. What a fadget. Again, that was for TOS reasons. Okay, I have to say maggot now. Anyway, the point being is that Chipotle Extra. We disavow Chipotle Extra. First of all, I don't really like Chipotle a lot, and I like it enough. I've only eaten it like 2 or 3 times in my life, but besides that little tangent, I will say that as a Mexican, I don't see what the appeal is too much. But I will say this: Rufus is known for this sort of Twitter tangent that he goes on, or like this anecdote spill that he goes on regularly, where he recalls something along the lines of, so and so happened to this person I know, thus justifying my position on a political issue. So we'll see what he says about Rufus.
2016. He was out there comparing Trump to Bernie Madoff. He was out there saying Trump didn't have a chance. And these are the same losers that say that Ron DeSantis would go out there and easily win against Donald Trump in a head-to-head primary, which would never exist because they're friends, by the way. But it's laughable. A lot of these people, especially in the GOP establishment, they view DeSantis as a pivot vehicle, as somebody who they believe can get the Trump base out to win an election, but also will return back to the days of old. People want to say, oh, he's a killer combo. He's a Trump-Reagan combo. No, he's more like a Trump-Romney combo. And I'm not entirely going to say that that's an awful thing for a governor of Florida, but at the end of the day, these people still view Ron DeSantis as this pivot vehicle. Make no mistake, he's not this lone America First warrior who's going to come out of nowhere, save the country, and tell the entire establishment media to go F themselves. He's just not going to. And it's also important to note that DeSantis' record in Congress, as I said, is extremely murky. He voted to increase visa caps time and time again to allow the president to increase the level of...
Let's skip along, boys.
To keep in mind, in regards to the fact that, Ron DeSantis is younger, he's better than Trump, again, he's also less charismatic, which as an executive does matter. Trump got a lot of people, myself included, engaged in politics for the meme factor. Again, could you imagine Ron DeSantis having Lil Pump speak?
So true!
I mean, come on. Trump had all the meme factor going. Is he going to have the tweets? Is he going to have the tweets with Kanye West saying, thank you, Kanye, very cool? No, of course not. Ron DeSantis is kind of boring. And I want a president that makes things fun, especially for me. I mean, I'm a commentator. This is it's good for business, but also it's good for politics, it's good for the spiritual...
We'll skip around.
Which would also make him a better executive because you can only get so much done in D.C. This is true. I mean, it's hard to navigate. But Trump is somebody who seems a little bit more willing to circumvent the checks and balances. Again, the same people that are shilling for DeSantis, they'll be like, oh, Trump, he's a threat to democracy or whatever. I mean, maybe not as much as some of the neocons or neoliberals, but still those people do exist, and it's true. Trump as a figurehead really puts a lot of doubt into the institutions that are holding back conservatism time and time again. And he is somebody who is out for revenge.
I think this video could have been 20 minutes.
In Arizona, assuming she wins the primary, those are going to be the governors that are going to be taking DeSantisism and supercharge it, and they're going to be a lot more effective, one could say, than Ron DeSantis at actually getting things done. So that's
Ron DeSantis is going to get mobbed by Carrie Lake. It's fucking over. You're getting mobbed by a 50-year-old woman.
Important. That's really part one of this video, but we're going to start part two right now, because then they'll say, well, maybe he's not exactly going to be better than Trump, or maybe he's somebody that you could say is just a weaker Trump or just a more establishment guy. Maybe they'll concede that if they're actually being honest with themselves, which a lot of them watching this probably won't be, but I'm here to educate the masses out there, the people that really don't have a large stake in this fight. But then they'll say it doesn't matter if he's not as good as Trump because Trump can't win, and he's more electable than Donald Trump, which I think is laughable. And I'm going to explain why. First of all, we already mentioned the fact that DeSantis doesn't have any charisma. With Trump out there, you have all these one-liners and zingers. It might not be what it was in 2016, but he's somebody that really energizes the base and speaks to the people. You drive through rural Ohio, you will see Trump 2024 signs everywhere. You drive through Florida, and Trump 2024 signs will still outnumber DeSantis 2024 signs by a lot. And a lot of the DeSantis 2024 merchandise is ironic. I actually like it. The Make America Florida, they got the alligator out there. I mean, that's Florida pride right there. It's not necessarily national pride. And people even in Florida at the CPAC straw poll overwhelmingly favor Donald Trump over Ron DeSantis in the primary. But still, charisma matters. And charisma matters, especially for debates. He's somebody who went up against Andrew Gillum back in the 2018 general election for the Florida governorship. He arguably was not able to beat Andrew Gillum, a literal meth head, in a debate. That's
so true.
You know about him. Has he gotten better since then? Yeah, I'm not going to say he hasn't. I talked about this at length about how DeSantis, he's got a little bit more charisma, but it's basically him standing in front of a bunch of local media saying Brandon administration and talking in the robotic presidential voice. When Trump at his rallies does an impression of a presidential president, we've all seen that clip before. He's literally talking about somebody along the lines of Ron DeSantis. Make no mistake, this is very true.
Dude,
and in regards to electability, it really comes down to the West Belt. That is where elections are. Let's say DeSantis' type of politics plays out there in a place like Arizona and maybe in a place like Georgia.
This reminds me of the scene from 13 Reasons Why. I don't remember what season, but it was like that incel shooter who got sodomized with a broom or like a mop handle. Do you guys remember that? Holy cannoli. It is so over. Election bros, Rufus, Arizona Politico over here bent over the fucking toilet, bleeding out of their butt. Oh, no, man. He's on these nibbas' ass like a tight end, man. Jeez.
Well, still, DeSantis is not guaranteed Georgia. I think Trump would probably win Arizona. I think DeSantis could win Arizona in 2024. But in regards to the Rust Belt, where Trump uniquely had a position of strength there is no proof that DeSantis would outrun Donald Trump there. And his past stances on trade energy, which is a big one, and the fact that he's a career politician are not going to play out well. Like, there's a lot of people that I've talked to at Michigan Trump rallies in the past that have said the only reason why they got out and voted for Donald Trump is because he is not a career politician. Ron DeSantis might be a solid executive in Florida, but that does not change the fact that he is literally the textbook definition of a career politician. From the Ivy League, served in the military, which again, I'm not knocking that, of course. We love our vets. He is somebody who then became a congressman. And then
he said we love our... there's some people on the right wing that will say fuck the troops, and that is gay. I counter.
He became a governor. He ran for the Senate seat briefly in 2016 before Marco Rubio dropped out of the presidential race and decided to run for a second term. He is somebody that has cared deeply about achieving higher office his entire career, more so than anything else, which that does not play out very well in a lot of these Rust Belt states. I mean, even nationwide, he can't even beat Kamala Harris in a single poll, which again, I think the polls are not always that accurate. They tend to oversell.
We'll skip ahead the poll stuff.
Liberal socialist in 2018 in Florida because of the whole monkey this up comment. He didn't understand how to navigate the media. Of course that was BS. Of course that was slander on his part. But they were saying, oh, he's the Trump cultist. He does ads with, the wall in them. He's somebody that doesn't have charisma, doesn't bring anything to the table. He's somebody who they called him like Ronda racist because he said monkey this up or something. They heard monkey and they thought, oh, he must be referring to Andrew Gillum because Andrew Gillum is black. It's like, yeah, very interesting logic you have there. But beyond that point, it's like they will ramp up their turnout apparatus against anybody that they perceive to be an actual threat to the system. Trump is somebody that at least will navigate it. That's not where the base is. The base is in the rural areas, in the small metros, in the small towns, in the non-college educated white part of the Midwest. That's mainly where these elections are won. So DeSantis doesn't really have a unique area of the country that he does well in that he would need to win. He's not winning Virginia. He's not winning Colorado. He probably wins Arizona, but would he perform better than Trump in a place like Florida even, or Nevada? I don't necessarily know. Maybe Florida because he was governor there, but Trump is also beloved in Florida, and his popularity keeps increasing there even after his presidency, so I'm not necessarily sure. But beyond that point, they'll say, oh, but the suburbs are important. But like I said, 2012 is not coming back. 2012 is gone. I mean, these people in the suburbs that may have voted for Mitt Romney, but voted for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden because of democracy or decency are beyond saving. They literally are. And in terms of decency, oh, DeSantis, he's more decent. They don't care about decency. I mean, they voted for the people that want to shove your kids' face in front of drag queens at schools and all these other places.
This is bullshit. This is bullshit. I bitch at rep at this all the time. Okay, that is so appallingly dumb. Red Eagle and other people will complain about how the left takes like the worst Republicans and calls them racist and white supremacists and that they're all like the Charlottesville people. Yet he'll go around and be like, oh, a fringe part of the left that the left won't counter-signal actively will do the drag shows. And it's like, yeah, but most leftists don't believe in that. So it's completely disingenuous for Red Eagle to know that. No, okay. It is genuine, but Red Eagle's just stupid, okay? He's naive. He doesn't know better. He's a 22-year-old baby. He needs to be schooled by the 19-year-old Chad. Exaggerating, but true. He's wrong, I'm right. The drag thing is overplayed. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I made a video about it that was struck down by YouTube, by the way. Disavow YouTube, cringe, but I'm still on the platform because what else am I going to do? But yeah, no. I just don't like hearing about it. I just don't want to hear about it. If you're really conservative, you don't want to hear about these alphabet people at all because, like, I don't want any business to do with that. It's personally not my thing. I just don't want to hear about it. So, rep bringing it up, I don't see what the point is. Oh, the suburbs voted for this. No, they didn't. They just take the package, right? They take everything that's with it. That's like saying the left takes in 1 million immigrants a year that they're okay with, but turns out that 2% of them are rapists. So, I mean, they're okay with that. It's like, no, they're not. They're just saying that the aggregate is good, not that the individualized, itemized items are good on their own. Obviously, come on, man.
These people are anything but decent. That's the other side that's been, causing all this havoc, threatening to assassinate the president during Trump's entire tenure. Like, these people are the opposite of decent. It's nothing to do with decency. It's to do with the fact that Trump is a threat to the neoliberal order. And if DeSantis really isn't that much of a threat,
that is a cope, okay? To say that people don't have a legitimate gripe against Trump for the decency thing, but instead it's just like it's all just a thing to defend the liberal order is stupid because clearly Trump did break conventional norms and not just like the neoliberal standard, but also just being crass, cursing, and all that. So to say that Trump wasn't rude and all that is stupid. But what I will say is that it is good. I will defend Trump doing that. It is awesome. But to pretend like it isn't happening is also dumb, okay? So I'll take both sides.
What's the point anyways? But DeSantis would do marginally better with them, and he would probably not energize the turnout nationwide necessary to win the states that he would need, at least as much so as Donald Trump. Yes, I understand the fact that DeSantis very well could still win. He very well could still beat Biden. I think he would beat Kamala Harris. But at the end of the day, a lot of that is going to be based off of anti-Biden sentiment than it would be pro-DeSantis sentiment. And at the end of the day, I want a pro and an anti-sentiment. Biden is hated now. Trump is beloved among the base. His approval rating is actually fairly high nationwide now. It's like 45, 46. I mean, that's
if you're not pro-Trump at this point, you're just like gay. At that point,
either way, it doesn't exactly matter. The media, whenever they talk about it, they say something negative. He's not on social media to defend himself. So it's completely irrelevant. And they'll say, but Youngkin did better in a lot of the rural areas than Trump did in Virginia. He outperformed Trump in every county. So this is literal proof that Trump doesn't have his unique point of strength as these moronic bloggers will just sit there and write about. It's hilarious. But you actually look and see why Youngkin won and how he won. First of all, you're talking about a national environment that was literally probably R+10 at the time or so. I mean, you had conservative amendments that were passing statewide in the state of New York that night. You almost flipped New Jersey.
Youngkin has nothing to do with DeSantis. They don't have the same appeal at all.
For Carlson, or you get Ron DeSantis, somebody who reads the National Review. Take your pick. That's really what it comes down to. Like, is that supposed to be a bad thing? These people are just smug, elitist losers. The same people that have destroyed the GOP, destroyed the brand of the GOP across the Midwest, and it took.
And they're only losers because of Trump. Trump really fell to the elite in the Republican Party. And it's really important to underscore how important Trump was to single-handedly go to the Republicans that had been vying for that position for years and decades, spent hundreds of millions of dollars to become president, and he single-handedly just fucks them all, dude. Trump is a Chad. We're Team Trump for life, pretty much. Trump gang for life, real. And seriously though, Trump destroyed all of these people effortlessly. It was awesome. He called men's wives ugly, like a Chad. You know why? Because he could back up the talk, and Melania's hotter than any of the other chicks that were married to the Republican nominees. Even though Rubio's wife is not bad from what I remember, but Ted Cruz most certainly took an L there. And all these people were vying for years, Jeb Bush, whatever. And Trump decimated all of them. He felted all of them, blood sports on the Republican stage. And yes, he did break normalcy. Yes, he wasn't decent. Oh, the decency. That's a valid criticism from the left, but it's okay. I take Trump with that in mind. Because almost all of Trump's faults and bad character traits have upsides, okay? His arrogance gave him the balls to run for president in the first place. His pride gave him the self-esteem to run for president, His stubbornness let him avoid a lot of problems, okay? So, again, a lot of Trump's issues have upsides. Not all of them are good on aggregate, but they still have upsides, okay? Whereas with DeSantis, him being boring, him having no charisma, That is unequivocally a bad thing. Okay? Not being appealing to your own base, let alone what the left thinks of you, is an L. You cannot spin that as a good thing. So again, Trump destroys DeSantis.
A New York billionaire, elitist trader, an elite trader, a trader to the elite, to go out there and convince those people that, hey, you know what? Maybe it's actually okay. Maybe the Republicans are going to offer me something. Trump was that guy. Trump was the guy to get it done. It wasn't you. It wasn't you people. You people that want to get rid of him. You have this concept of the post-Trump era. Trumpism without Trump. And it's like, as time goes by, it's funny. The Trumpism without Trump includes the worst things about Trump's administration without any of the actual Trumpism. So it's not even Trumpism. It's the post-Trump era. They want Trump gone. They want him cleansed from politics so they can go back to business as usual, bipartisanship, where you take turns screwing over the American people and being corporate shills and being shills for foreign wars. And that's all it comes down to. And being apathetic.
Okay, that is gay virtue signaling by rep. I already called them out on this in person. No, come on, man. Really? Oh yeah, no, we're gonna replace Trump, and then we're just gonna slowly, systematically cuck the American people because we're just evil, and then we're gonna start wars for no reason because there could never be a valid reason for a preemptive war, and then we're gonna go ahead and do these trade deals to screw over Americans because we just want to get richer, and we're just psychotic villains. You fucking imbecile. Ready to go with the 12-year-old logic over here? My God, fucking Jesus. Anyway, yeah, no, that is stupid. Now, yes, if the DeSantis people got in control, we'd get cucked and all that, foreign wars, whatever have you. But to be fair, they mostly believe in that. And yes, they will cuck on certain issues like the gun thing, and that's in bad faith. They just want political expediency from the Republican side. But then again, a lot of the stuff with Iraq, most of the politicians genuinely believed that that was a valid thing to do. Okay, to say that, oh, they just went to enrich themselves. Well, fucking track the money, nigga. Go ahead, figure something out. That's what I said, by the way, huh? You know, figure these numbers out. Put them in the calculator and figure it out. Seriously, brother. Like, think about it. Where's the money? If somebody wants to show a money trail where these politicians all got rich, all the people that voted for it and the people who didn't vote for it didn't profit from it, then we'll go ahead and go with that conspiracy theory. Until then, it's just a virtue signal LARP. Okay? And it's a red flag when anybody says, oh, I'm sick and tired of brown people getting shot. Shut the fuck up, frankly. People are going to bitch about black crime, and then they're going to be like, oh, the U.S. is killing brown people. Who gives a shit? I don't give a fuck. I don't care either. So stop pretending that you do. Okay? Stop virtue signaling. I hate it. Stop.
Liberalism and the decline of our once civilized society. That's pretty much it. So beyond that point, they'll also say, hey, it's Trumpism without Trump. It's Trump policies without the baggage. And it's like, okay, I think the baggage actually arguably helped Trump to a large degree.
So true.
I mean, people don't like these career politicians that are squeaky clean at the national level. They might be fine with somebody like DeSantis at the state level, but you're necessarily going to say, hey, you know, this guy's good at the state level, put him at the national level. It's the whole college football NFL comparison again. Oh, wow, Sam Darnold. Yeah, how did that work out? He's like on the third different team by now. He's not even a starting quarterback in the league. Yeah, it's the same concept for all we know. And like I said, DeSantis could end up being a decent executive. I'm not saying that he can't be, but at the end of the day, I'm just saying you're taking a massive risk. And just because you're a good governor does not mean that you are going to instantly be a good president. And this is absolutely true. And it's also important to note in terms of the electability thing, he barely beat Andrew Gillum.
Okay, let's skip around. He's kind of...
Consider it, assuming we can, like, throw the neoconservative politicians in the trash and not take that with us. But make America Florida. I don't know if that's really going to be the best messaging, even though Florida is in the House or whatever. Like, Republicans have the winning messaging with Trump right now. Derailing the Trump train in favor of an unknown product is just lunacy. At this point, there's no other way to chalk it up. And they'll say, oh, Trump already lost. Well, Trump's also already won, by the way. And 2020 was the worst of circumstances for Trump, and he still came 43,000 votes in 3 states away from winning. That was when Biden had a 52% approval rating, and Biden's approval ratings in the mid-30s. Trump has stayed the same, if not gone up.
That is so fucking true. Trump lost in a recession during COVID and during the media doing that, and we all know what happened. But the counting of the whatevers, you know, I want to avoid TOS, but point is that we know what happened, and he still came close. I want to see DeSantis do that, you fucking imbeciles. I want to see DeSantis get within 43,000 votes. Oh my God. Seriously, you fucking insolent bastards on Twitter. You fucking election bros. Belted once again. Seriously. Oh, you know, if Trump clicked on the issues, you would have won the election. I really doubt it. Seriously, Ian. Oh my God. So yeah, Trump won the first time, okay, against the odds. And then Trump against even worse odds came close. Wink, obviously, we know what happened. Yeah, okay. Anyway, point being is that, Trump's electability is key to know. And it's key to know from that is that he is electable. And the other thing is that, Joe Biden had a 52% approval rating. His approval rating's in the 30s. How the fuck would Trump lose that election? You fucking ignoramus. Like, Trump's approval rating would have to go down 15 points for that to even be even in terms of separation there, of approval. And yet these same DeSantis pros will say that Trump will lose to Biden. In what fucking world? Even if they finesse more than in 2020 by 3 times, Trump would still win because the margin is too damn high. This black guy said the rent is too damn high. The margin is too damn high for fucking Donald Trump. He'd beat and curb stomp Ron DeSantis in a primary. They need to go gallivanting. Fucking Deion Sanders just fucking prime time jogging around, fucking galloping. Okay, high stepping it into the end zone. skating on Joe Biden, destroying Kamala more pointedly, and Red Eagle's right. Sorry.
Even though the media has utterly slandered him and basically said, oh, he's an insurrectionist, he did 1-6, he's literally Osama because 1-6 is our 9/11, that's what they'll say. And as a result, it doesn't matter if the attacks bounce off. Trump is that guy. I don't want to hear about it. The MAGA hat never comes off. Metaphorically, it is still on. Make no mistake. And this is really the point of the video where people are going to say, well, I like DeSantis, and you should, because he is a good governor. I'm not taking away from that in this video. That just doesn't mean he'll make a good executive. And then they'll say, what about a Trump-DeSantis ticket? And I used to like this idea. I've endorsed this idea about over a year ago as a compromise, but it would be a hassle. Florida, obviously, we know if two people are running and they share the same home state, the VP and the presidential nominees, then they would have to forfeit the electoral votes of that state. So Trump would have to House for 4 years. And then
Trump
after that, 2028
is gay. Don't do that. I'd rather have a Trump
they're being promoted by all of the worst people.
Trump,
and this does not mean that Trump gets a free pass for everything. It does not mean that we sit back here. We're not going to be able to hold him accountable when it's necessary. I think that we have to hold him even more accountable. And I think 2016 is not coming back. 2020, however, was a disaster on Trump's part. His campaign had a lot of weak spots, which is true, and a lot of dissents will point to them, just trying to win our approval, even though they don't actually believe that. And if DeSantis did that, or an establishment politician, they would be making excuses for them. But either way, Trump will probably correct some of them. 2024 will be a mix of 2016 and 2020, and the middle is going to be more than enough to give Donald Trump a massive victory over Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or, God forbid, Gavin Newsom in 2024. Newsom may be the worst option of all. Yeah, put the governor of California,
American psycho, but like that's going to be
a winning strategy for Middle America. Cool. But beyond that point, that's really all it comes down to. Comment down below. Did I change your mind? Were you on the DeSantis side and I changed your mind, or do you agree with me? Are you
I'm more anti-DeSantis
2024 now, or are you still a seething DeSimp who is a red eagle politics?
So fucking true.
Make sure you comment down below what your opinion is going to be. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Like this video down below. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. And join the website. Buy the merch. The links are in the pinned comment. You can have this epic red eagle politics shirt that I'm wearing right now. You can get that there. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.
Yo. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll give you the 1 minute rundown there. Yeah, no, it was great content. We love to see it. Red Eagle just really killed it. Great, it was better than I thought. Obviously, the video was 43 minutes. I think that he should have made it like 25. A lot of the points he made were kind of tried. He kind of ran through the same thing 3 times. So he could have cut that. And that is important. Second thing with the script is fine. Red Eagle doesn't have the charisma that I do. And I am trying to come off like a douchebag when I say that. But the point still stands that, like I'm ranting without a script. And, Red Eagle, I want to see him try without a script. I think it'd be kind of cool. I want to see him be a little more flippant, a little more crazy with the language, maybe curse a little bit more. A lot of his audience are boomers, and he tells me this, a lot of old people watch his channel, so it's not like there's going to be a lot of little kids watching him curse. So I'm cool with that. So basically, yeah, I want Trump to, I want Rep to get off the goop, just let the filter off a little bit to make it a little more entertaining, and then also make the video shorter. My attention span was definitely tested, and I had every interest to watch the whole thing through, but yet I was losing interest towards the 15-minute mark. So if Trump, wow, Freudian slip, what does that even mean? If Rep could lower the video to 25 minutes in length, I think that it would make it a lot more interesting to watch. And then again, if he were to be a little more unscripted, that would be cool too. And then beyond that, I would say that his points were really good on virtually everything. Then again, I will point out and I will bitch about it time and time again. The virtue signaling. Oh, the endless wars. They're trying to screw over America. This conspiracy, talking in the second or third person. Rep does this a lot, and you will not believe how much he talks in the third person. It's insane, okay? We are under attack. We are so bad. It's so fucking gay. It is so happy, okay? It is so gleeful. Oh, no, guys. TOS, so strict. Point being is that, I just hate the virtue signaling, okay? We need to stop. I'm calling for a complete shutdown until we know what the hell is going on. But in regards to the video as a whole, I would rate it an 8 out of 10. Pretty good stuff. Very solid. Then again, main criticisms from holding it back from being 10 out of 10 keynote would be, make it shorter and be more entertaining. Now, that's a tall thing to order from Red Eagle, be more entertaining. He's a very, very, very normal person. Very normie. At least in the video. So, yeah, no, I don't know, but... No, good stuff. DeSantis, the Satan simps are BTFO. He did a great job dismantling them. He really effectively shat on the election YouTubers, by the way, and the election Twitter people in particular. He named the Atlas Forum. He showed it. That's an obscure reference that few will know about. So, yeah, shout out to Red Eagle. I appreciate it. I like the video. Make more like this. Just don't make them as long, by the way. And I'll see y'all in the next upload. Lalo Eagle out. I guess, right? Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. Lalo Eagle out. Ugh, cringe. Jesus. Okay, bye.